So yeah, the quantum realm is basically, call it the Hooke's realm, is the whole thing. That includes the binary realm, or the SOE. And the SOE is the realm where your point of attention is. So this is filmed in 2020. As of now, your point of attention is the manifestation that you are, and each point of attention actually represents a Big Bang. So there is not one Big Bang, there are infinite Big Bangs, of which you are one. But your time frame within the linear time frame is just one of multiple different experiences, what you'd actually technically call reincarnation, and not just of past lives, of human lives, but of multiple different states of life forms, always life. But life includes, incidentally, things like the planet Earth and the sun. Now, a lot of this might sound like science fiction right now, because it's 2 books worth of evidence to actually show it. The 5 diagrams, to someone who's very scientifically minded, should show it already. It answers the position regarding what is dark energy. It answers the position regarding what is dark matter. It also shows that the Hawking radiation theory is not correct, and that's because the singularity itself literally is in the world but not of the world, and therefore the data, or information as they call it, the binary as I do, doesn't have a place to fall into, because that place to fall into is the place. Everything already is the singularity, and the binary data is perceived, because of mind and separate minds, is perceived as separate binary data. In fact, it itself is also quantum, and therefore the binary, which normally is obviously a 1 or a 0, is actually infinite representations. So what is perceived as binary is actually quantum, but the mind, using the quantum theory to do with the collapsing of the wave function, is the reason that it's perceived as binary, and it absolutely is not. Counterintuitive as it may be, that's an absolute fact. And it's a little bit like when you look at a green, so you look around now and look at all these green plants, you would swear, or most of you, unless you're a scientist, and even some of those scientists don't quite get that, but you would swear that the green is a property of the plant, and it's not. What happens is the photons from the sun come to the plant, and actually the plants miraculously manipulate through quantum mechanics so that the collapsing of the waveform is increased above the average it should be, in order to manipulate the reality to feed its life force. But that's another story. The point is this, that the colour that you're looking at is actually an invisible waveform, because the plant takes all the colour as energy, and the rejection is the green, but it isn't green, it's colourless. It's a wave which has no colour, but carries the potentiality for the green colour by virtue of the uniqueness of the waveform. What happens then is it hits the eye, and it hits the retina and the cones. And what happens then, the cones are obviously set so that different frequencies create potentially different experiences. But it doesn't stop there. You've got the information passage from the cones to the brain, electrochemical signals, and then you have what's called correlates of consciousness, where certain regions are stimulated which correlate to colour experiences. And it's actually qualia, which is consciousness, and it's outside the physical material realm, which is accessed through the mind, and it's augmented into the reality. So what you see is an augmentation similar to what you would get if you took a camera image of a room and you implant it onto their furniture pieces or whatever. It's the same process, and it's done by the mind. So the point is that, as you can see, the physical material realm is nothing as you perceive, and that's the colour example. Another one, which is detailed in book 1 of 2 books, is to do with the McGurk effect. I won't go into too much detail about it, but when you get a chance to check it out, you will swear that what you are perceiving is fact, and you are shown that it is not. And the reason it's so useful is because it enables you to go through and see how easily that your senses can be tricked. And the point being is that once you understand how easy it is for the senses to be tricked, you get to realise that a reliability on all the senses, even though they work in unison and create a 3D model of the world, are completely not to be relied upon. And the point of that is that there are very, very, very small windows, in fact 2, that allow you to work out how reality really works.